Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Things. And I'm going to tell you a few things you need to understand about Paul Rudds' Living with Yourself. If you don't know, this is on Netflix and it stars Paul Rudd and he clones himself. So we get 2 Paul Rudds, which is like heaven for some people. It also stars Aisling B and it's directed by the people who did Little Miss Sunshine. So it's off to a good start. You're probably thinking, hey, wasn't that a Michael Keaton movie in the 90s? And yes, you're right. That's where I'm going with this. I watched Duplicity more times than I care to admit, but it got me fascinated with the idea of cloning, as I'm sure everybody in the late 90s was fascinated with cloning. So Michael Keaton's character clones himself multiple times and he starts getting them to do different parts of his life. In Living with Yourself, there's sort of a similar plot line to that, but it's not the same. The real meat of this comes through the idea of why the cloning happens. What would I do if I had 2 me's? I would definitely not go into work some days, but sometimes I'd take a little vacation. And that's played with a little bit in this series and it's fun to see. There's a lot of duplicity happening here. I don't know why I'm doing that. Duplicity in this show is interesting because not only does it come from Paul Rudd, he went behind his wife's back to do the cloning, but also there's duplicity in just the idea of the company cloning, and there's the FDA's involved, but also the wife, Aisling B, she has some duplicity problems as well. It's just a very interesting idea about being in a long-term relationship and how you create these dual personalities almost, kinda, in a way. Not really, but in a way you do. With your friends, you probably talk a different way, whereas with your significant other, you're going to talk another way. When Paul Rudd creates his clone, it sort of opens his eyes to the idea of like, oh, he has turned into a different person than he was maybe 5 years ago. It's about long-term relationships and how they can probably change you. Sometimes they can change you for the better, but also sometimes they can change you for the worse. And next thing I'm going to talk about, I don't even know if I could say this word correctly. Reciprocity. Hope I said it right, but I'm probably wrong. This show is definitely about the love that you give people and the love that you think you deserve. And that's a quote from another Paul Rudd movie. The amount of love that you show others, that will show back to you, and the amount of love you show yourself is going to be reflected on your own personality. So with Paul Rudd's original character, Miles, he's sort of like morose and down in the dumps, and he's just like, There's different things in life that happens that could maybe lead you down that path, and then you don't know how you got there, and it takes a while to figure out what happened, and sometimes you just make a clone of yourself, and then you figure out like, whoa, how did I get here? Reciprocity, hope I said it right again, is this weird thing in life where you sort of do it subconsciously. You have a love language and it's different for different people. So the love language you have for your best friend is going to be different from your love language for your significant other, and it's going to be different for you, the viewer. I'm going to give you a different kind of love language. Paul Rudd's going to give you a different kind of love language as he eats spicy wings. It's just a thing that happens, and you do it subconsciously sometimes, but sometimes you have to work to it. Sometimes you lose that mojo, and you have to figure out how to get it back. And that's a plot of an Austin Powers movie. And if that's not proof that Living with Yourself is a great show, that I referenced Austin Powers, well, I don't know what to tell you. This premise is simple. The series is quick. You can get through this in one night. This is like less than 30-minute episodes. Boom, 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 really quick. They flow into one each other. There's some Enya music. Sail away, sail away, sail away. And before you know it, you've watched 4 episodes and you're like, well, might as well do the other 4. Yeah, there's cliffhangers at the end, and it sort of does mishandle the ending a little bit, but it's fun. And I hope there's a second season. It'll be fun to see what happens, but if not, I'm fine with the ending as well. Well, not really. A little bit. I liked the ending, but I didn't like it. Paul Rudd, but also Aisling B. These two had great chemistry, and I know the thing is about, Paul Rudd, how did you act with yourself? And he's great as himself and as the more chipper version of himself. But it's the performance of Aisling Bea that ties it all together. She plays his wife in the movie, Kate, and so Miles is sort of like something has happened in their life and they're sort of just like on the ruts for a while. But Aisling, she is the one that delivers a performance where you really get the sense and idea like, whoa, they're okay with being in sadness with each other. And I was watching her performance and Paul Rudd's performance to see how they were going to work together as a couple, or actually now it's a love triangle. Oh, geez. If you want us to do more 5 things, let us know in the comments about what. Subscribe. I'm cloning myself right now as we speak. There's just a clone sitting over there on the couch, and he's like forming, but he's also got like this weird grimace on his face. I think I created a bad clone, so we'll see what happens.